CMV, the most sensible thing to do if you're ever given a chance to sell your soul to Satan is to refuse, because the existence of Satan would be implicit proof of an afterlife. I imagine the devil may offer some information about the nature of the afterlife that would shift the balance. Obviously, it would be irrational to trade 80 years of earthly pleasure for an eternity of torment, but what if the devil said something like, "Look, Queso Ancats, here's how the afterlife works. Hell is just the eternal absence of the presence of God. That's basically the same as being here on earth, right? It's not like God is knocking your door down with gifts and attention every day, is it? And imagine you could have everything you wanted while you're here on earth. That'd be pretty sweet, right? So, we in hell have a pretty good old time. It's like being here on earth except you know the guy who runs the place. Playing cards, drinking beers, watching Netflix. And, I have a VIP room for all the clever people who take an advance pass by selling me their soul while in the mortal realm. You get all the premium channels on your in-room TV and extra MNMS, sweet huh? Heaven? Yeah, the upside is you're in his eternal presence, sure. But, let me tell you as someone that spent a few millennia up there and ended up getting my own place, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Choirs of angels get grating after a while, and it's all so bright and white. Not good for a hangover. I think you'd prefer it downstairs, anyway. So, what I say? Going sign here? The idea of selling your soul to the devil does not necessarily mean the Christian devil, which means that stories surrounding it are not governed by Christian canon. Indeed, Christianity doesn't even contain any passages describing what selling your soul to the devil means. Even things entirely set in the Christian cosmology still invent their own rules regarding that kind of thing. They can't not do it. Since there is no truth surrounding the idea of the devil, each story that talks about it brings with it its own cosmology, its own rules. The ability to sell your soul to the devil states nothing further than that souls exist, the devil exists, the devil is capable of claiming ownership of a soul, the devil gains value from possessing a soul, and the devil is capable of making small alterations to reality, such as allowing someone to win the lottery. It does not bring with it any ideas of hell or heaven, nor of eternal damnation nor eternal paradise, nor even the afterlife. Perhaps souls are destroyed at the end of life, but making a deal with the devil allows the devil to keep your soul instead of it being destroyed. Perhaps we have a system of reincarnation, not an afterlife, and souls sold to the devil are simply removed from that infinite cycle. The afterlife isn't a temporal concept anyway, but a spatial one. Heaven, hell, and any other land of the dead exists at the same time as the real world, which makes them physical spaces within reality, and thus you could theoretically cross between them without needing to die. This makes the devil who lives in hell a statement no different to the devil who lives in a council house in Manchester. Furthermore, even if it did come with an afterlife, there's no reason that it would be the Christian one. The devil is viewed as the source of selfish desires, temptation, and knowledge, but that's not even inherently evil. A plane ruled by such a creature could easily be more paradise than heaven. A creature who values desire and knowledge would presumably build a realm that contained all knowledge and was able to satisfy all desires. A deal with the devil could be a mutually beneficial arrangement that everyone should do if given the opportunity. Just because both actors in a transaction are acting selfishly doesn't mean the transaction can't be mutually beneficial. Also, as for deals with the devil in literature, the fact they don't really make sense is kind of the point. The idea of the deal with the devil is usually as a character study. It's to have a character, through greed, naivety, ignorance, or sheer stupidity, make a deal with the devil, which the book will then go on to analyze to explain why the deal was bad, and by extent, why greed, naivety, ignorance, and stupidity are bad character traits to have. You're supposed to think that the character who makes the deal is an idiot. The other side of this coin is where the character outwits the devil and manages to avoid the consequences of the deal, in which the character is a risk-taker but probably not an idiot because they managed to get what they wanted without giving up their eternal soul. If you were clever, then you'd find a way to get the devil to guarantee that your soul will rest in heaven for eternity. Play the devil, don't let the devil play you. I think a relevant question to you would be, what do you mean when you say Satan? Are you talking about the Bible character, or is that your placeholder for demon or any powerful entity prone to offering questionable deals? If it's the first, then sure, him being real means every other part of the Bible is true and you shouldn't jeopardize your eternal life for comparatively small matters such as fame or money or other ways of improving your short stay in this world. This falls from me assuming when we talk about a character being real, we are talking about them existing as closely as posable as they exist in their respective works. So Satan being real would imply God being real too, as Satan is shown to interact with him. The same way Voldemort being real would mean Harry Potter is real too. Otherwise, we would have a version of Voldemort that never attempted to kill baby Harry and thus developed a whole other chain of events and is no longer what we would understand as Voldemort. Now, if you mean one of the other options, as in Satan was more of a placeholder, then I don't think your conclusion follows. If the entity you are dealing with only resembles Satan from being powerful enough to fulfill the deal he's offering and for being inclined to making such deals in the first place, then you cannot conclude he's the Satan, and his existence doesn't prove the existence of God or the afterlife. Maybe the entity you are dealing with is a genie, a fairy, an interdimensional lawyer, who knows? In those cases, who can say whether you should make the deal or not? We have no frame of reference to deal with such stuff. I mean, we do. Deals with genies or trickster fairies are often ill-fated too in stories and lore, but who is to say that frame of reference applies here? Maybe the entity is a benevolent alien being and he can only help you through deals cause that's how their law/culture works, but they have your best interests in mind. Maybe they are trading something that's of no value to you in exchange for something that's of no value to them. Your armpit hair, a delicacy in their planet, but has to be humanely sourced. For this pile of gold, what's the use of it anyway, with a pile superconductors littering their basement? The memory of your first kiss, a cure for a powerful curse that ails their kingdom, and you don't really remember it that vividly anyway. For this bottle of a potion that makes immune to all illnesses, they have rivers of it in Feywild. The other problem is that it would be hard to know what you are dealing with, cause the evil entities could trick you by presenting themselves as benign ones. I think the Christian way is to reject everything supernatural as opposable work of the devil, except when it's God, but he doesn't do deals anyway, so that's a discussion for another time. But this assumes you are already a Christian, so it's not something you would deduce otherwise. Also, who knows, maybe you incur the wrath of some of these entities when you reject the deal.